Hello princess, welcome back to the channel, and boy do I have a little treat for you little piggies today, because you've been so good of course. So I decided, for no apparent reason really, to watch all 7 of the Paranormal Activity movies for the very first time back to back to back to back to back to back. I will be going through the movies in release order and ranking them as I go from best to worst. I will be adjusting the rankings as we go. So buckle up and watch out for objects slowly moving across a table. I said, watch out for objects slowly moving across a table. Let's get into the video. The movie that started the found footage craze of the 2000s and kicked off a very lucrative franchise, a cha-ching cha-ching. Paranormal Activity 1 was released in 2007, written and directed by Oren Peli, starring Katie Featherstone and Mika Sloat. And I must address it straight away. They keep saying Mika.
Mika? Oh, Mika! Mika, no. Oh, Mika, stop. Mika, Mika. Mika? Mika! What the hell are you doing, Mika? What did you do, Mika? I cannot believe you, Mika. Mika, get out. Mika? Mika, this is me a trap. Oh my god, Mika, come back down. Come on. Mika, please, come on. Mika? Mika, please be careful. Mika, answer me. Mika! Mika!
Ipa! Ipa! Ipa!
I've never in my entire life heard the name Mika. It's Micah. My god, very first strike against you, Paranormal Activity 1. It was absolutely annoying as fuck hearing it. Mika. Funnily enough, they decided to name the characters the exact same thing, which is Katie and Mika. I think it's really important to set the stage for this movie and how crazy popular it was. This movie absolutely took over cinemas and the zeitgeist at the time. Everyone was talking about Paranormal Activity and how scary it was, and this movie was marketed and even presented as if it was real, tapping into that Blair Witch craze that we'd seen previously. And gotta say, it definitely worked. We'll talk about the box office at the end, but my god, this movie made a lot of money. This movie follows Katie and her horny little goblin boyfriend, Micah, as they document increasingly strange and hostile paranormal activity. Something that has haunted Katie since she was a child. The movie starts with the young couple firing up a video camera to document the strange occurrences that are happening during the night. And throughout the movie, the occurrences and the supernatural paranormal activity, once again, increases in severity and intensity. And it really does crescendo in the last 15-20 minutes of the movie. This is a pattern that we see consistently throughout the entire series. It starts off with a door, slowly closing, and then a noise. And then the next thing we know, Katie's dogs are getting exposed. And I'm not talking about the fluffy ones, I'm talking about the ones attached to her legs. And for free, I might add. Mika works as a full-time day trader, but I believe his actual gig in life is antagonizing his girlfriend and the demon that haunts them. And honestly, I can really relate to that. I think one of my favorite pastimes is annoying my girlfriend. So he really is just like me for real. As the severity of the paranormal activity increases, Mika and Katie grow more and more hostile together because they are genuinely sleep deprived and stressed and scared out of their mind with no real solution in sight. We do find out that the demon feeds off hostile energy. His goal is to ramp up the intensity until these people are at each other's throats. And I think that is the best thing about this movie, genuinely, is the human element to it. This shows if there was an actual haunting in the real world, it shows the mental strain that this would cause on two people and their relationship. Some of these moments where they're just so fed up and sleep deprived and just don't know what to do just seem genuinely really human. And I have to give it major props for that, because it's something I have never really seen in a horror movie, where these characters don't just wake up and it's nothing happened. No, this is taking a toll on them, and every day it just chips away at them a little bit more.
Emotional damage!
And they do throughout the movie grow more and more scared, especially at nighttime, because that is when they are most vulnerable, especially with just a top sheet on their bed. Can't get over it. I never will. I'll never get over it. The movie ends with Katie being fully possessed by the demon and tossing Mika across the room, killing him. This is something that is a staple in the film. If you like seeing people get tossed across rooms, you're watching the right kind of movies. With a budget of $15,000, this movie grossed $198 million. which is fucking insane. I'm not sure if it still is, but it was at one point the most profitable movie of all time in terms of the investment made to make it and then the return on it. Overall, I think this movie is just okay. I can see why it was so captivating at the time, but I think since, horror has evolved a lot since 2007, there's definitely a lot of movies that have scared me more, but I think the atmosphere of the cinema back in the day and people kind of like, is this fucking real? Really would have been captivating and scared the fuck out of people. So for now, Paranormal Activity 1 is in the number 1 slot. Just like some of my friends, they are number 1 slots. Now, Paranormal Activity 2, released in 2010. This movie follows Katie's younger sister, Christy, and her family. This movie works as a pseudo prequel to the first movie, but also if you pause this movie near the end and then you can watch first movie in that time because it leads up to the end of this movie. So if you want to watch it in chronological order, watch this movie, pause it, watch the first movie all the way through, come back, play this one and finish it.
What the hell are you talking about? What?
Yeah, don't worry, this series gets far more confusing than that. The family consists of Christy, her husband Daniel, Christy's teenage stepdaughter Allie, and her newborn son Hunter, and their dog Abby, which instantly put me on edge because I don't want anything bad to happen to the doggy, of course. Didn't really care about the baby, if I'm being honest. You can always get more babies, but cute doggies are invaluable. A trend starts in this movie where they basically always connect it to the previous movie or one of the previous movies, and they have some sort of recap that sort of tells you what happened in the last one. It's quite confusing in this one because like I said, it sort of like all connects into one mega movie. The structure of this movie is basically the exact same as the first one. Small little supernatural occurrences start happening and they slowly ramp up in severity throughout the movie. As the movie goes on, it gets worse and worse and worse and more violent until a crescendo. Another trend throughout this series is that basically all of these families, except for the Mexican one, live in massive houses, but we'll talk about the Mexican movie a little bit later. Hey Siri, stop listening. Stop listening. The family in Paranormal Activity 2 have a maid called Martine, and she is an absolute G. And for some reason, she knows a lot about paranormal things, and she's very connected spiritually to the world. I think this is like a stereotype that's been used in a lot of horror movies in general. I don't know if this is like the movie that started that, but it definitely keeps the tradition going. And who am I to knock tradition? But yeah, she is swiftly fired by the father Daniel when she was trying to sage the house to cleanse it of demons. Which, you know what? If someone wants to come into my house and get rid of demons, do it. If that's how you want to spend your time, honestly, what is the worst thing that can happen? Get rid of some demons and the house smells a little bit funky. What's wrong with that? And like I mentioned, this is Katie's younger sister, Christy. So throughout the movie, Katie and Mika do visit sporadically throughout the film, and we get these little conversations between Katie and Christy where they reflect on their childhood, specifically some of the weird and maybe even sinister things that took place. They don't go into too much detail, but just sprinkle a little bit of detail. We come to learn throughout the film that the demon that haunted them as children has truly come back. It might have something to do with their ancestors making a deal with this demon for wealth and prosperity. The family gets money and the demon gets their firstborn son in the family. And you know what? It's a pretty good deal.
I'll make that deal. How about you bitch? You make that deal?
I'd make that deal.
I don't blame you. Damn good deal.
They learn this through the maid, Martine, who is brought back swiftly as the supernatural occurrences grow in intensity. So remember kids, when in doubt, get a Mexican. Christy ends up being fully possessed by the demon, who is quite obviously going after Hunter, the baby. He's the firstborn boy, so they need him as a vessel. He temporarily takes hold of Christy until they're able to cleanse her of the demon, but unfortunately, they have to give it another host or else it won't go away. And it has to be someone within the family. So they lay down the Uno skip card on Christy and they pass that bad boy on to Katie.
Double it and give it to the next person.
Who is now the victim of the demon, hence the very first movie. So this is where you would pause it and go back and watch the first one.
I don't know what is going on, but somewhere our wires got crossed.
So we get a bit of a time skip. And the movie ends with a possessed Katie showing up at the house, killing Daniel and Christy and taking Hunter into the night. With a budget of $3 million and a return of $177 million, taking the franchise total to $371,695,055. that's about how much money's I've got.
I'm a baby. I have no money. I can pay you in blocks.
And I think overall, this movie is a step down from the first one. It is pretty much a carbon copy in every single way of the first movie. I will say the jump scares were probably a bit more effective in this one, but it just really lacked that human element from the first movie where I did feel like sorry for these characters. And of course, having the dog and the baby in the movie did make this movie a little bit more tense overall. It's not great, it's not awful, but it is in the number 2 slot. Paranormal Activity 3 released in 2011, just 1 year after Paranormal Activity 2. I'm sure you could keep up with that, but I just wanted to make sure you're on the same page as me. This serves as a prequel to the last 2 movies, one of which was a sequel and also a prequel. Don't worry, this one is definitely a prequel. Set in 1988, we follow Christy and Katie when they are children. That sounds bad. We're not following children. I'm not following you are. I'm not following children. You guys are following children. I'm just watching the movie. You guys are following children. Hey, what the hell are you guys doing? Cut it out. Stop following the children. It's inappropriate. The frick's the big idea? Come on. We see the haunting that has plagued their family. Much better. In this movie, we follow their mum Julie, stepfather Dennis, who serves as our protagonist in the film, Katie and Christy when they're children, don't follow them, and Dennis's employee Randy. Randy serves as our comedic relief and the little gooner in this movie. Dennis is a wedding videographer, which is a pretty good explanation of all the camera equipment. And this is definitely the movie where I was like, okay, we're really not going to be straying from the Paranormal Activity formula where every movie in this franchise, and I mean like every single one of them, follows a pretty consistent flow. And I know most movies ramp in intensity, but this franchise is truly formulaic. So, like the first movie, things start off pretty chill. It's mostly Christy talking to her imaginary friend named Toby. We come to find out that her imaginary friend Toby is actually a demon called Amadeus, which is nice. She's got friends and at least she's not talking to nobody. There is at least a demon there, which, at least he's not imaginary because that'd be pretty fucking weird. As the situation worsens throughout the movie and the severity of between Toby and the family increase, Christy basically tells him to like hit the road and stop talking to her.
I don't want to play with you anymore.
Toby, you and I are through. He basically turns his attention to tormenting Katie. And through this, we get what I think is the most effective, scary scene in the entire franchise. Basically, Christy ends up being unwell and Dennis and Julie take her to the doctors. They enlist the help of Randy to look after their child. Randy's a chill guy. He is a little bit of a perv, but only to women his own age. There's nothing nefarious going on there. I don't care how responsible you are. If your name's Randy, I'm not letting you look after my children. It's just not a responsible person's name.
I'm like, what do you say fuck me for?
But anyway, Randy and Katie decide that they're going to play Bloody Mary. They go into a bathroom, turn the lights off, and repeat, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. I'm not doing the last one because that's scary. That's how it goes. They switch the light on, nothing happens, but then the room begins to shake and quite quickly there is like really, really loud banging on the door. We can assume it's Toby trying to get in there or just trying to scare them. Banging is super loud and Randy puts himself up against the door, stop whatever is on the other side getting in. And Katie, rightfully so, is absolutely terrified. And the way that Randy is like reassuring her, whilst also you can tell he's terrified himself, it's just like a really human moment in this franchise. And it harkens back to the first one. And it's something that was really missing from the second movie overall. It seems realistic, like how an adult would be making sure this young girl is safe and okay, but also genuinely terrified for their own safety as well. And I'm not gonna lie, this scene was actually genuinely pretty scary. So props to Paranormal Activity 3 for that. After Toby gets more and more aggressive towards Katie, Christy steps up in an effort to protect her sister and tells Toby, I'll do it, suggesting he's been trying to convince her to do something for him the entire movie. I know, I must be Sherlock Holmes to have figured that one out. Also, little sidebar, let's take a little break. Dennis is their stepfather, right? Hypothetically, if you're in this situation, how long into the freaky stuff do you decide to maybe go get some milk forever? If you catch my drift. I think I would have like a good 10 days in me and then I'm like, yeah, Sorry guys, I gotta just duck out to the shops for a second. I'll be back. Don't worry. I will be back. And yeah, you'd never see me again. Never. As soon as they start talking to imaginary people and shit starts floating, if I'm not involved, it would be wrong of them to keep me there and put me in danger for no reason. I don't have to, it's your business, family business, I'm just a bystander. But back to the movie. I will say the ending of this movie is probably the best one so far. Christy convinces the family to maybe go and stay at their grandma Lois's house. Lois pops up throughout the movie, and even if we didn't know there's like a generations long curse going on here, she is a little bit sus. She's a little bit creepy looking. Yeah. I think it wouldn't take a genius to figure out that, Lois is not to be trusted. But we do realize that Toby was trying to get them to Lois's house. And it is like a farm estate, really big house, big bit of property. Basically, the ending of this movie is Dennis wakes up in the middle of the night and Julie and the girls are missing. It's shot from everyone's favorite style, POV, of him running around the house trying to find them until he is met with something absolutely, truly terrifying. A cult of elderly women called the Midwives.
You serious?
And not gonna lie, if a demon has a local bingo team doing his bidding, I'm coming out on top and unscathed because me versus an 80-year-old elderly woman, it only goes one way. Dennis finds Julie hanging out from the ceiling, like she's dead, hanging. He visits one of the biggest scam artists in the world, a chiropractor. Go look it up, they're scam artists, causing him to have a forever nap and leaving the girls in the hands of the cult and their grandma, Lois. Paranormal Activity 3, with a budget of $5 million, saw a box office return of $207 million, taking the franchise total to a whopping $578,734,910 My God, in just 3 movies, this franchise has grossed $500 million. That's fucking insane. Paranormal Activity 3 for me was the best overall movie so far. It has some genuinely really scary scenes and I think an ending that was actually pretty captivating and intense. The added tension of Toby going after the 2 young girls obviously makes it a little bit more scary as well. You don't want anything to happen to these 2 girls. It doesn't have as much of the grounded mental torment as the first movie, but overall I think it is a better movie with a much more tense ending. It might be controversial, but Paranormal Activity 3 is at the #1 slot. Paranormal Activity 4, released in 2012. The first actual sequel to this franchise. This movie is set 5 years after the events of after the first, second kind of one. And oh boy, buckle up for this one. And with this one, we meet a new family not connected directly to Katie and Christy. Usual setup, mum, Holly, father, Doug, daughter, Alex, which is really strange because Alex is obviously a boy's name, and their son, Wyatt, in, once again, their massive fucking house. A now staple of the franchise. Oh boy, at this point in the marathon, and even when writing the script for this video, the events and the characters of each movie really started to blend together. Like I had to do some research to make sure I wasn't talking about things that happened in the last movie or the one after this, and the characters. Yeah, it gets really muddy here. It's so formulaic. I'm going to give a little bit less of a plot breakdown for the rest of these movies because, like I mentioned, they are really just all the fucking same. But there is little bits of lore dumping here and there. So basically, a new kid and his mum move across the street from our protagonist family. As far as I can tell, they don't have a last name, so I will just refer to them as protagonist family. The boy's name's Robbie and the mother's name is Katie. And yes, it's that Katie from the first 2 movies. And technically the third one. This isn't actually her son, it's just a boy. Katie pretends to be ill, and for some reason, which I don't fucking know why, the son Robbie is left to be looked after by their across the street neighbors, our protagonist family. Robbie is a little weirdo, and as soon as he moves in, strange things start happening. And you're probably thinking, because it would make a lot of sense, oh, Robbie must be the baby hunter from the first movie. No, sorry, he's not a baby hunter. You might be thinking he's the baby named Hunter from the first movie. Also, a baby hunter might be the easiest job ever.
Smile, you son of a...
But no, Robbie isn't Hunter. The son of the protagonist family, Wyatt, is actually Hunter, who we find out is adopted. And no, they never explain how Katie lost the baby from the second movie.
So cute. Bye-bye.
You know, the baby that is really important to their plans. And also, like, how do you just like lose a baby? Is that something that happens? This is like the thing that the midwives as a cult, there's like a whole group of them. Weren't they all just like looking after him? It's so frustrating and like it just doesn't make any sense and is never addressed or explained throughout the rest of the entire series. But this movie does have a lot of scenes with the Xbox Kinect, which is pretty cool, I guess. Yeah, Xbox Kinect. No, that was the most useless fucking piece of technology ever. It did give me flashbacks of me screaming, Xbox record that. Back in the day when I hit a nasty clip in Battlefield 4, you had to say it like 7 times before it would actually do it. And then it like wouldn't capture the thing you wanted it to because it had happened so long ago now because you've been screaming at it. And also I used to get technical fouls while playing NBA 2K because I'd yell at the ref and call him like a fucking asshole or something. And then next thing I know, the Kinect heard me and I get a tech foul. But you know, it's in this movie, a little bit spooky. But yeah, the whole family dies. Katie gets Hunter back, yada, yada, yada. With a budget of $5 million, once again, this movie grossed $140 million, a new low for the franchise. But still massive ROI, taking the series to a whopping $721,537,567 dues. And this movie goes to the bottom spot on the list. The moment you've all been waiting for. Paranormal Activity, the Mexican one. I mean the marked ones. And this movie does take a break, especially for myself, from the very formulaic, standard Paranormal Activity movie, which I had now watched 4 times in a row. My God, these movies are not built to be binged. And a massive difference from the series so far is this family is not living in a massive fucking mansion. It's funny that you decided to make the Mexicans poor in this movie, creators of Paranormal Activity franchise. But you know, we'll ignore that. And something else different, this follows like a group of friends, not so much a family.
I don't have friends. I got family.
This movie follows Jesse, Hector, and Marisol, which I feel like I fucking nailed that. Even rolled the R's for you. Jesse, a recent high school graduate, becomes possessed by Toby. Yes, that Toby. After he witnesses the murder of his neighbor Anna at the hands of the cult. He is now marked.
Oh, hi, Mark.
He doesn't go full demon mode until like the end of the movie. Once again, obviously, slow build up until big crescendo. But up until then, he and his buddy Hector are like getting a real kick out of Jesse being possessed because he gains basically superpowers, increased strength, levitation, invulnerability to some degree as well, and a little bit of telekinesis. And as a concept, I think that's like genuinely like a really interesting idea. And I wish this movie fleshed it out a bit more. Like you could make a superhero horror movie out of this where maybe Jesse is like doing some good in his community and becoming like a local superhero, stopping bad guys. And boy, does the area need it in this movie.
Roll 'em up.
And then you could have Jesse slowly losing grip and control over the powers and Toby slowly takes over and it becomes a horror movie. But, you know, that would stray too much away from the Paranormal Activity formula. So yeah, don't be silly. Don't be silly. We can't do that. Imagine if we made a different movie. That'd be crazy. This is a little bit different, but not too much. I gave it too much credit. It's pretty much the same movie. I just wanted to keep you guys interested. We do find out throughout the movie that Jesse has actually been marked from birth to become possessed by a demon. Don't know why, but you know, that's what's happening. They actually end up meeting with Ellie, the daughter from the second movie. This is something that the franchise does a lot where they try and like force these connections and like little cameo appearances from past people in the franchise. Genuinely, I don't think anyone gave a fuck. I certainly didn't. I wasn't like, oh my God, it's Ellie. I'm like, who the fuck is, oh, it's that chick from the second one. Okay. Anyway, oh, she's here to just like, you know, give us a bunch of information. Okay, cool. Anyway, but she does inform them about the events of the second movie and sort of gives them even more information about the cult of the midwives. After this, Jesse becomes more and more aggressive and violent, and he actually even ends up pushing his grandma down the stairs, which in the right context could have been hilarious. He disappears. Hector and Marisol get some help from some local guys who have had some run-ins and I think even lost a friend to the hands of this cult and demon. They help Hector and Marisol track down Jesse, and funnily enough, where Jesse has gone is back to creepy Grandma Lois's ranch. Another forced connection. And the house once again is crawling with evil old ladies, but Hector and Marisol's new friends actually come equipped for the situation and actually blast a few of these old bitches away, which was pretty cool. The group is once again slowly picked off until Hector is left by himself running through the house frantically trying to find a way to escape. And stick with me here, this is where the series really goes off the fucking rails and gets confusing. Hector decides to run through a door which is marked with like evil runes, I guess. He's then transported back in time to the first movie and its house at the climax of the first movie where we see Katie stabbing Mika. Hector is scared obviously by this and tries to run, where he runs into Jesse, who is fully possessed, and attacks him, and the movie ends. Yeah, so now there is time travel in this series. Cool. And my God, this series is so overly convoluted. And by this point in the movie marathon, my brain was pretty freaking scrambled, if I'm being honest. Especially with the whole time travel element being introduced. But yeah, anyway, with a budget of $5 million again, this movie grossed $90 million at the box office, a new low for the series, but still taking a massive profit and taking the franchise to a total of $812 million, $432,529 dues. Wowza. We are nearing the $1 billion mark quickly. This movie is like different enough that I was just so happy there was something new going on. It is going in the number 3 slot. Paranormal Activity 6, The Ghost Dimension. This has been a lot.
I'm tired, boss. Tired of being on the road, lonely as a sparrow in the rain.
We return to the series' roots. Yes, we're back with another white family in a massive fucking house. And okay, stick with me here. The sheer audacity of this movie and series to get this fucking complicated is crazy. But okay, Mum Emily, Dad Ryan, their daughter Leela, Ryan's brother Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Ryan and Emily's family friend Skylar. So Ryan and Mike find in the shed or garage. In the garage, they find a camera that is somehow able to see supernatural entities, finally giving somewhat of a physical form and visual to the scary shit that goes on in this series. Up until now, it's been invisible, whatever, moving stuff around and throwing people across rooms. So now we get a big blob kind of amalgamation of demon energy. I don't know, don't think about it too hard. They also find a bunch of old videotapes that span from like 1988, which obviously is when the third movie takes place, and all the way through to like the 1990s. We're basically seeing the cult training Christy and Katie to use their supernatural abilities and just like overall weird, creepy shit going on. As always, scary stuff starts happening. Things are moving. People are getting dragged across the floor. You know, there's creepy shadows moving around and, you know, just the normal paranormal activity tings. Leela is talking to Toby and her family is being terrorized by him. And we find out that the house that they're living in is actually built on the same block as the house from the third movie, which apparently burnt down, except for the shed. Hence why they found the camera and the videotapes. Yeah, at more forced connection. Stick with me here, please. And this is where the series basically fucking implodes on itself and I wanted to put my head through the TV. So, Leela opens a portal and travels back in time to creepy grandma Lois's house where she's like hanging out with the cult and Katie and Christy, and I believe Hunter is there as well. I don't know. She comes back, she does this at night, comes back during the day, no harm done. Up until now, and I can't stress this enough, they make such an emphasis that like firstborn boys and boys are like the be all and end all of what the cult is after. And specifically, Hunter is like Toby or Amadeus's end goal. Like, that's the vessel, we want Hunter. This movie, for some reason, says, fuck that. Leela is the missing piece to having a body, to having a physical body for Toby or Amadeus to inhabit. And honestly, I wish I could do a better job of explaining all this, but it doesn't make any fucking sense. This series just does shit and doesn't explain it and doesn't connect things, but then also tries really hard to connect everything. Yeah, what a disaster. It doesn't make sense. Stick with me. We've got one more left. They all die, obviously, besides Layla, and Toby gets his physical body. At this point in the franchise, they've gotten away with making the same movie basically 5 times now.
You can't keep getting away with it!
I don't know why these kept making money. But with a budget of $10 million, this movie saw a return of $78 million, a new low to the franchise, but also still massive profits, bringing the franchise to a whopping $891,335,653 dues. Fuck this movie, it sucks, it's in the last spot. Paranormal Activity Next of Kin, released in 2021. And you know, it was really positive. This franchise looks like it took a 6-year gap, but unfortunately they didn't learn anything and they just served up this wet fart of a movie. And honestly, at this point in the marathon, I was so checked out of this franchise and these movies, and all I wanted to do is just go stare at a blank wall for a couple hours and just question my decision to make this video. So here's the plot in dot points I will be reading from the screen. Margot, who was abandoned by her mother as a baby, travels to a remote community to learn about her biological family. She discovers that the community has secretly lured her because she is part of the bloodline connected to the demon Amadeus. Her mother Sarah was there and she's the current vessel for the demon, and she essentially abandoned Margot to protect her from the community and the demon. And the demon because she's the intended next vessel. Margot and her friends uncover a hidden church and an underground pit where the community has been trying to keep the demon contained. Not much longer, Alex. We're almost there, guys. Come on. A monstrous creature attacks them. Surprise, surprise, it's Sarah, Margot's mum. Yep. And has been transformed basically because she's been possessed for so long. Margot kills Sarah, very emotional, believing she ended the threat. Instead, Sarah's death releases Amadeus upon the community. He escapes. In a final scene, Amadeus is just like jumping from body to body, causing havoc, killing everyone. And honestly, not gonna lie, this escape scene was pretty good. It was the highlight of the film overall. Amadeus ends up possessing Samuel, Margot's relative, and he uses his supernatural powers to escape to the world. Essentially, like the whole time, you're pretty sure that this community that lives on the farm where the church is and everything, that they're the bad guys, but they're actually the good guys. They're trying to contain the demon. So, you know, that's crazy. What a twist. And I'm like convinced this movie was not supposed to be a paranormal activity movie. I don't care what anyone fucking tells me. I think this movie was being made and then COVID happened and they slapped the Paranormal Activity logo on it because they're like, hey, at least it'll make some money this way. This was a direct to streaming movie, so, you know, the numbers are pretty dubious. I'm sure this made good money. I think it was released on like Paramount or Shudder or some shit. I don't fucking know. Who cares? It sucks. But it made $80K in rentals and VOD, so that's pretty cool. But that brings the franchise to a grand total of $891,417,249 dues. This is going second last on the list. It's not great.
You can rest now.
But thank you very much for joining me on this journey through the Paranormal Activity movies. If you've made it this far in the video, make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the like, leave a comment of a franchise you'd like me to binge watch next and make a video on. Maybe I'll get to it. Thank you very much for watching. I love you. Bye bye.